I want to ask you about the Missing You track with Brandy, Tamia, Gladys Knight, Shaka Khan. Now, were all of those artists around, or was it kind of like, a different situation when you wrote it?
Different situation. I wrote that song with another friend of mine, an early mentor of mine named Barry Eastman, who I also met through Phyllis Hyman, actually, the late great Phyllis Hyman, who I met on one of the first artists that Dave Hall had me collaborate with was Phyllis Hyman, who was a legendary R&B singer, rest in peace, who became a good friend of mine. And she was the one who introduced me to Barry Eastman because she was also working with Barry on her album, I Refuse to Be Lonely, that came out unfortunately after she passed in '95. So she sort of took me under her wing as well. And then she introduced me to him, and he ended up taking me under his wing, where we ended up working on some of the songs for Phyllis. But he was, was being called and asked to produce for different people all the time. So I sort of joined his sort of writing partnership or writing camp, if you want to call it like that, and started working with him. And very similarly, "Missing You" was just a song that him and I wrote together. That song is just he and I wrote together. And I did the demo. I sang the demo. My grandmother had passed, so I was kind of like, thinking about grief through that loss. But it was an assignment. Like, we got a call from Sylvia Rohn. By that time, I Apologize for Anita Baker, which Barry and I and Anita had co-written, had already been a big hit. So Barry was kind of a go-to person for Sylvia Rohn, who is the president of Epic right now, where Tyler and Future are both signed. It's kind of small cyclical world, how everything comes around. But at that time, she was the president of Elektra Records, and she had a big hit with Barry and I and Anita with I Apologize. So she was doing the soundtrack of Set It Off and asked us to pen a song to submit for the film. So we had to do 3 drafts of it, because with film, there's many more people that have to say, yes, that have to greenlight something. There's the director, there's sometimes even the film producers and the record label, And at first they were looking for a song that maybe Lauryn Hill and Roberta Flack could have sang together, because this was shortly after, Killing Me Softly had been a big hit. So that was the thought for them to sing together, and then that didn't work out. There's all these different, like, who was going to sing it, you know what I mean? So finally they decided they wanted 4 women to sing it, because there's the 4 women in the film Set It Off. So at first it was Brandy, Mary J. No, it was not Brandy at first. It was Mary J., Tamia, Gladys, and Shaka. Mary had done vocals, and Mary started it off in the beginning, and then Mary went through a management change at the time, and Mary decided that she didn't want to be on the song anymore. So she asked that her vocals be taken off. The management at the time thought that she was overexposed and was on too many projects. That's the story I think I'm remembering. So she was taken off of the song, and then at the last minute, we needed somebody else. And Sylvia Rohn said, I think I can get Brandy to do this, because that was part of the same label, Atlantic and Elektra. So Brandy recorded her vocals last, and I think it was a stroke of genius from Sylvia Rohn, but it was also just miraculous for the song, because, first of all, Brandy was huge and she was pop. The other ladies on the song were more R&B icons, but Brandy was, really getting pop airplay. And so I think the innocence of Brandy's tone starting it off just gave it this innocent quality. Radio also just loved that record. Over the years, that song has really touched so many lives. I mean, it's performed in many people's services, homegoing services, all the time. It just continues to touch people. It's not sung often. It is not sung live very often. Tamia sings it beautifully in concert, but it lives on, I think, it's one of those go-to songs that people think of when, it's so, and it's funny, somebody asked me to sing at a funeral the other day, and they were like, well, we're trying to think of songs to sing. Would you be willing to sing Missing You? And I said, yeah, I wrote that song. They're like, what? They said, like they didn't even know. They said, well, that's absolutely perfect. I said, yeah, I can sing that. So that's how that one seems to live on. Also Grammy nominated.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that song definitely, man, affects a lot of people, like you say. And then more recently, with the pandemic and COVID, we lost a lot of people, and I heard that song, more than ever. But it's a powerful song, man. You done worked with some powerful queens, you know what I'm saying? So that's truly amazing. You said Phyllis Hyman, Brandy, Mary J, Shaka Khan, Tamia, Gladys Knight. I mean, come on now.